everybody, welcome back to another episode of Movieverse Movie News. This is episode 8, and I am joined today by Greg. Greg, how's it going, sir?
Doing alright. Just saw Inside Out last night.
Yeah, was it good?
Very good movie. Very Pixar. If you have a soul, it will make you cry.
I don't have a soul, so that... sorry.
I'll freely admit that the ending got to me a bit.
Yeah.
There's a couple tears that came down.
Dude, I almost... The one movie that almost made me cry besides The Notebook, because that movie almost made me cry. I didn't cry. Almost. But another movie that I almost cried with was Fast and Furious 7 with the Paul Walker tribute. That was I was that close to crying. But Pixar, I won't cry at that. I might laugh. Anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and get into the movie news topics for this week. The times and days for some of the Hall H panels have been announced.
Actually, Comic-Con announced all of their panels.
Yeah, but
we're going to focus on the Hall H panels.
Yeah, I want to cover some of the Hall H panels for you guys, so I'll be watching. If there's a live stream, I'll be watching it. If they're live blogging, I'm going to be paying attention to that. So I'm going to be live tweeting with all the Comic-Con Hall H panels that we list here in a couple seconds. To bring you guys up to date on all the information of Comic-Con. It's a big weekend for movies, especially nerdy movies, which we like to cover. So yeah, I'm going to do that for you guys. So Friday at 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, Lucasfilm will be in Hall H. So that's going to be a big one. They're going to have The Force Awakens. Maybe we'll see something with the first anthology movie. Maybe we'll get some more news for the second anthology movie, possibly. But yeah, so Lucasfilm in Hall H, Friday at 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. And then Saturday, Warner Brothers will be in Hall H from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific time. So obviously, we feel like they'll have some Batman v Superman stuff there. Hopefully they do more than what they did last year, which is having like Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, and Gal Gadot just come out and just wave. Hopefully they actually talk, and we
maybe even see a little bit of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Lex Luthor himself, Jesse Eisenberg, even though he's a terrible PR person, he did say that he will be at Comic-Con this year with WB. So that kind of gives us an idea that they will have some DC stuff there for us. So we'll be covering that as well. And then also on Saturday from 5:45 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., 20th Century Fox will be running a Hall H panel. So that can be Deadpool,
Apocalypse,
possibly some other stuff that they might be coming out with. Oh, will they show? Do you think they'll show anything for Fantastic Four there?
You might see like a second trailer or something.
I feel like they'd have some type of promotion there for it because it comes out in
a month later.
So
that's very likely.
So those are the three main panels that I want to kind of cover and pay attention to because it has a lot of those movies that we really are looking forward to in the next few years. So like I said, I'll be live tweeting those events. I'll possibly be having some kind of like recap videos after those panels just to kind of fill you guys in on what you may have missed if you're not able to pay attention to that sort of thing. I asked for that whole entire weekend off. So I'll be around and be doing stuff with that. So make sure you guys are following us on Twitter at Movieverse with the number 2 to make sure that you can interact with me while we're live tweeting that event. It'd be super fun. So moving on to the next topic, because we got some big news coming up here in a few minutes, but we want to get to this next topic.
We'll get rid of this one first.
Yeah, and then we have a lot of time to talk about this other one. I think you guys know what it is. So this next topic. The Uncharted movie loses its director, who was Seth Gordon.
It's their second director they've lost.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah. So, what does this tell us about? Well, I know you asked me the question of like, why is it so hard to get a video game movie made? And I have to respond by saying this first. In the past, I don't think good video games movies were made because the studios didn't take the properties seriously. And you can say the same thing about comic book movies before the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And Tim Burton. I mean, Tim Burton did a really good job.
But even then, the comic book movies after that ruined what Tim Burton established.
Yeah, like Batman and Robin and Batman Forever. Yeah. So I think it's partly because they weren't taking the franchises seriously. And now you're seeing the growing pains of them trying to create video game movies that actually are worth anything.
And I agree with that, but at the same time, the Uncharted one seemed like a slam dunk because one, the property is owned by Sony Computer Entertainment.
Yeah, so it's their own property. Yeah,
being made by Sony Films.
Yeah.
Like,
so they own all the creative control.
You know, so like, and Uncharted is very similar to Indiana Jones, like, you know, kind of a modernized
and Tomb Raider in a way.
Yeah, so like, you already have a template of how to make a movie like that.
Yeah, and
they still are screwing it up.
Well, I mean, do they know why he left?
Basically, when Amy Pascal left and the new guy who's taken over for Sony Pictures,
they didn't like him.
He wanted to take the movie in a different direction, which was opposite of what Seth Gordon proposed and was creating, and he didn't like that.
So basically, what's happening here is Seth Gordon, had a very good idea of where to take the Uncharted movie, and this other guy comes in and is like, "Oh no, let's go this way," and so it's probably going to turn out to be a bag of shit.
So it's the problem that seems like video game movies have is the people who own the property want too much creative control over the process. Like, you look at why the BioShock movie, you know, died, why the Halo movie died.
I didn't even know that BioShock was trying to make a movie.
With Gore Verbinski, the Pirates of the Caribbean guy. Like, but it was all of these properties that they wanted to exert too much of their own creative control and not let directors make their movies.
Yeah, that's one of the things why I like Marvel and Marvel movies so much, is because since it is their property, and so they take care of it and they nurture it and they build it up like it truly needs to be, and you don't see that a lot with, you know, like, I get even Uncharted though it's owned by Sony, but like Sony, like games and
Sony has notoriously been known for not interacting with other departments underneath Sony.
So like, it's just, you know, it's sad to see that, because, you know, like Halo movie, I think Halo could make a great movie.
Yeah.
It has a storyline to back it up,
or even like an HBO series.
I'm really excited to see the Assassin's Creed movie, but I have faith in that movie because Ubisoft has actually developed their own like studio, like Marvel has, to
but again, they've had their own problems. Like, they've had their one of their lead actresses leave, and they replaced her.
They replaced her like almost immediately.
Yeah, but still, like, you know, they've had,
as long as Michael Fassbender doesn't drop out of that, I still have faith in
and but they've had their own pains as well.
Yeah. All right, so moving on. Now we mentioned Marvel, we'll get into some of the news that is, you can't really pass this up, and we've talked about this character quite a bit the last few weeks on this show, but finally it has been officially announced from Marvel that Tom Holland is the new Spider-Man.
It's about time.
Right? We were getting, like, I know for the past few weeks when we're talking about the show notes, we're just like, man, we're talking about Spider-Man again. It's like, well, we kind of have to.
Yeah.
We kind of have to.
Yeah.
But so now it's finally official. Instead of speculating
it's
about
the biggest story that people want to know.
Yeah. Instead of speculating about who's going to be Spider-Man, now we can talk about who is actually Spider-Man. And it is Tom Holland. He's 19 years old. He's a relatively new actor, but he has been in some movies where he's gotten a lot of praise for, like the movie it's The Impossible, which is a tsunami movie
based on the tsunami that happened
in Southeast Asia,
maybe a decade ago now.
2004 I think it was. And I, you know,
alongside Ewan McGregor and Naomi Watts, which I do feel like Ewan McGregor is an underrated actor.
Oh, he's so a good actor.
He got to learn from those two people.
Yeah. Well, and
gave a great performance himself.
Yeah, I was watching some of the scenes from that movie that Tom Holland was in, and from what I gathered from it was that, for one, it was a really, you know, emotional tale about this family trying to survive this you know, disaster. But it also seemed like it focused more on the characters more so than the disaster.
Yeah.
So, you know,
the disaster happens like in the first like 15, 20 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, and then from there on, it's basically concentrating on these characters and how they deal with what's happened. So yeah, you know, it seems like Tom Holland has a lot of talent for for as young as he is, and you know, as we've seen. And some of these articles that we've brought up for this news topic, it seems like Marvel definitely saw that in him, not only from his previous movies, but also his auditions for them. which in one of our articles, and we'll have all these articles down below if you want to go read them. They from Heroic Hollywood, he kind of gives us like an inside look on what happened with this casting, and basically what the article is saying is that he has been Spider-Man. Like they decided on him back at the very beginning. The first like screen testing in Atlanta. Yeah, which was like May 30th. Yeah, was when they did the screen test in Atlanta, and apparently Asa Butterfield and Tom Holland were the two front runners from the very beginning. And there was a point where Asa Butterfield got on Reddit and was talking to people about his actual height. Like some people were saying that he was like too short or something, and he was like, "Oh, well, actually, I'm 6 foot." Apparently, when he was doing that, he already knew that he wasn't Spider-Man. And so they bring up a couple of things about how they kept all the actors that were vying for the role kind of in the dark, except for Tom Holland and Asa Butterfield. And they flew Tom Holland back down to Atlanta where they were filming Civil War. I think it was like June 3rd. And so they were working on like contracts and stuff like that, but they had Tom Holland screen test with Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., which is crazy that they have. Well, I mean, it's kind of expected, right? Because you want to see if he's going to be able to produce quality acting when he's around these big personalities. So I think that was really cool that we kind of have like some kind of insight into like how this all happened. Yeah, I mean, and it seems very clear that the reason it took so long is because of the contract negotiations. Yeah, because you have a guy who is 19 or just turned 19. Yep, has done a handful of movies. And you want to sign him up for 10, 12 years or however long. I know, yeah. That's probably a long time. You know, yes, he can't command that much now, but what happens when, Spider-Man 3 comes out and it's making, billions of dollars, $500 million on its own, If not more, man. But I'm saying, but just and for that example, even just $500 million. So I bet there's a lot of wording and incentives that need to be ironed out. Probably like a sports contract where it's like, you're guaranteed this amount of money, and then you have like bonuses, and you have opt-out features and stuff like that. So and I'm also, again, he's also the opportunities to do other films if he wants. Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't want to be tied to every single Marvel movie. I guess that's why I'm not an actor, because if I was that young and be like, oh yeah, you want to be Spider-Man for the next 10 years? Yes. But at the same time, you kind of want... Okay. But at the same time, though, after a while, you want to prove that you're more than just Spider-Man. Yeah, but I mean, I kind of have to go... This kind of reminds me of a similar situation with Emma Watson, Daniel Radcliffe, and Rupert Grint with the Harry Potter franchise. They were those characters for a very long time. And then after that, they started to explore other avenues. And Emma Watson has been pretty successful. Daniel Radcliffe has gone on to make multiple movies. He's been in plays. Yeah. I'm not really sure what Rupert Grint's doing. I know that he drives an ice cream truck around and just gives out free ice cream to kids. But I believe he's actually in a lot of behind the scenes things now, more like a producer. I saw a couple of smaller movies that he was in, and he was actually really good at. So yeah, I feel like maybe Tom Holland might do a similar thing, even though, granted, when they brought on Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson, they were all really young. Yeah. They were underage. So now it kind of makes me think of how did they make those movies, because they couldn't work them for 8 hours a day or 12 hours a day, or whatever the laws require them. But they go overseas. Yeah. So those laws aren't the same. I guess, I don't know, but so Tom Holland is the new Spider-Man. I'm pretty excited about it. I think as far as physically appearance, I think he looks the role. He looks like he's a teenager, which is what they're trying to go for with this new Spider-Man. So the only thing he's got to get straightener in his hair.
I don't know if I could take like a curly haired Spider-Man, Peter
Really?
Parker.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I've seen some pictures where his hair's just naturally wavy. I don't know.
Yeah. So
I think
he needs some gel in his hair.
you're nitpicking, right? You're nitpicking. Okay.
I always do.
But he looks like a teenager without actually being under 18.
Yeah.
Which is good because it allows him to work on the movies just as much as all the rest of the actors. So good for Tom Holland. Congratulations. By the way, did you see his Instagram videos that he posted where he was like doing like flips and stuff?
No, I have not. But I know
that was
he's
after they had already after he already knew that he was Spider-Man. So then he's
I know he is like a trained gymnast.
Yeah.
So you could see him actually doing a lot of stunts in the suit.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's funny that, after he found out that he was, signed on as Spider-Man or whatever, then he posted to Instagram where he's doing these flips and stuff, kind of, I guess, celebrating. And, we didn't really know that was him celebrating until now because we have some of the background information into it. And I just wanted to shout out to, I'm sorry, Farhan, if I pronounce your name wrong, I apologize. But you asked us a question about who we think is better for Spider-Man, either Charlie Rowe or Tom Holland. Well, Tom Holland is now officially Spider-Man, so your question is kind of moot point, even though I did like the look of Charlie Rowe.
Yeah.
I don't dislike Tom Holland's look for Spider-Man. I think
you can do whatever you need to with makeup and costuming. So
whatever. I don't have no problem as he is, Greg. I don't want him to change. Anyways, that's going to do it for our movie news segment. All right, guys, so now we're going to get into our quick hits segment of the show where we just talk about some other news topics from the past week. We just touch on them real quickly and then we move along. We got quite a few this week, so we're going to go ahead and speed on through them. First off, we have multiple Green Lantern rumors. Firstly, there's a rumor coming out that the Green Lantern movie that's coming out in 2020, I think it is, a long time away, apparently it's supposed to not only focus on Hal Jordan or John Stewart, it's supposed to focus on 3 Green Lanterns. So the 3 Green Lanterns are Hal Jordan, John Stewart, and Guy Gardner. I don't know much about Guy Gardner, but as far as Hal Jordan and John Stewart are concerned, we have further rumors that the person who will be playing Hal Jordan is actually Chris Pine.
Captain Kirk.
And then I don't even know if I can call this a rumor because the only rumor that it comes from is the actor himself, Tyrese Gibson, kind of like hinting at the fact that he's going to play John Stewart. He keeps posting these things on his Instagram page and stuff.
He also had a tweet that's saying he just met with Warner Brothers.
Did he?
I
didn't see that one.
I'm pretty sure it was Twitter, it may have been Instagram, that he just left Warner Brothers.
Well,
and they can't say much.
What I just saw on his Instagram page was that he posted a picture of like him and Chris Pine and like the charging lantern or whatever you call it in the middle, and underneath it said the oath has been taken. It was like some fan art that somebody had sent him, but then he said the oath has been taken. So it makes it sound like there's been some type of agreement or deal made. I don't know, but so yeah, that's the 3 Green Lantern movie rumors. What do you think about any of that?
I mean, I like the idea of that, because you have the whole idea of the Green Lantern Corps was, this essentially cosmic police force that kept everything in line.
Yeah.
So the idea that you have multiple lanterns, interacting with each other.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. Like the only kind of issue is which one of them gets to be part of the Justice League.
Not only that, but there's also another issue that is more comics based. In the comics, there's only 1 Green Lantern per sector.
Yeah,
and
true.
The sector is a big part of the universe. So, Hal Jordan, John Stewart, Guy Gardner, they're all the Green Lanterns for Earth. So how does that work if this is true? Like, is it like Hal Jordan is like the mentor and John Stewart and Guy Gardner are kind of like the 2 guys like vying for his role? Are they being I don't know.
Hal Jordan's the detective and the other 2 are just like the foot cops or something.
Gosh, man, you don't I'm not going to get into that.
I am teasing.
There's too many just stereotypes that you could just throw out there with John Stewart just being like the comedy relief or something, even though Hal Jordan and Guy Gardner are the more like comical characters. But yeah, I like the idea of Chris Pine being Hal Jordan. The fan art that they put out there, it looks really well done, and it looks like he could be Hal Jordan. Tyrese Gibson as Jon Stewart, though, I can't say that I'm too excited if that is true.
Yeah, because Jon Stewart, you're right, tends to be the more serious.
Yeah, more of a stoic presence.
Tyrese
Gibson always plays like this really like comedic role, like he did in Fast and Furious.
In all of his movies, he's been like, even in Transformers, he was like that too.
Yeah,
like,
true. Yeah,
so
he always had these quips and everything else.
Yeah.
And so I mean, there are actors that I would much rather see play Jon Stewart than Tyrese Gibson, but
if you have a person who wants to do it and is a quality actor,
but if Tyrese Gibson gets the role, if he does well, I'm rooting for him. I'm just saying, as of what I've seen of him, I'm not that excited.
I said both of those casting rumors of Chris Pine and Tyrese would be, are optimistic. I am optimistic about those.
Yeah.
Kind of still begs the question of kind of what role do they have both in the Lantern Corps and with the Justice League and on Earth.
Yeah.
So like there's still a lot of unknowns that I would still like to see Hal Jordan in the Justice League. I would like to see that. Yeah, so there's still a lot of unknowns to make me say like I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Or enthusiastic, but I am optimistic about it.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to the next topic for the quick hits. We have a kind of no shit kind of quick hits right here. Ben Affleck is rumored to direct Batman. Yeah, I kind of figured that one, right?
Wasn't that kind of the whole like underlying rumor of why
he was cast as Batman? Yeah,
so he could direct a Batman movie.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the gimme of the quick hit, but also the attached to that rumor is that the Batman movie will be coming out in 2018. So that would kind of lend itself to the previous topic that we were talking about. I think it might have been last week or the week before about DC saying, or Warner Brothers saying that they're going to be releasing up to 10 DC movies in the next few years. So a few years is usually 3, right? So in 2018, that'd be another movie that's not on the slate right now. But if it's added 2018, that's movie number 9. So then all we're looking for is a Man of Steel sequel at some point.
Yeah.
And then so what's your thoughts on that quick hit?
I mean, you said it. Like it's like
kind of a gimme, right?
I mean, if they were going to do a standalone Batman movie, which we assume they would, But even if if they did that, then it was 99% sure Ben Affleck would be the one directing it. Yeah. So I mean, 2018 is a little bit interesting. That they actually gave a
date for it. Yeah.
At least a year for it. But other than that, like. It's kind of like, yep, that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. So then the next quick hit that we have is similar, like to being, we kind of figured. X-Men and Fantastic Four are going to cross over in 2018. I kind of figured that they would cross over. I'm actually surprised that it's not sooner than 2018, to be honest.
I think they are probably still trying to hedge their bets on the movie, the Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, like...
And also, too, at the same time,
you have these two properties. They're both Marvel properties, so it's not like you have to like work out some deal. Like,
and they're both in Fox.
Yeah,
so,
like Fox has both these properties, so they can just do it now if they wanted.
So the only thing is going to be like what X-Men will still be there, like what familiar X-Men will still be there.
Yeah. Well, I think that they're going to have they'll have the new Jean Grey, the new Cyclops, like all those characters that they're introducing in Apocalypse, the newer ones, the younger ones, they'll probably have. But another issue that you see with this is, one, right now, X-Men, I think, is taking place in the 80s, I think is when Apocalypse is taking place.
Yeah.
And Fantastic Four is very much a modern superhero movie.
And they have increased a decade.
Yeah, how they get to that point would be interesting to see. Maybe we'll find out the end of X-Men Apocalypse. Who knows?
I was like, each X-Men sequel, like the reboot sequel, have all jumped up in time. So.
I know that this is really going off topic of X-Men and Fantastic Four, but I do want to say this, and this goes back to Spider-Man. There have been a lot of people saying that they're not very happy with the Spider-Man casting, and their reasoning was that Marvel's just doing whatever they want. Well, it's Marvel's property. Like, so I don't think people
That's the benefit of owning a copyright.
Yeah, like it's hard for me because since I'm so in tune with this type of thing, I can't really put my mind into like the very like average like, hey, let's go see a moviegoer. You know what I mean? Like, there's people who will just like, oh, there's a new Spider-Man movie out. Oh, I guess I'll go see that. And they don't actually know like who owns what and what companies the characters like belong to and all that stuff. So the fact that Sony brought in Marvel to help them with Spider-Man, and so Marvel is doing what they're supposed to do, and people are just like, oh, well, I don't really like the casting because Marvel's just doing whatever they want. That's what Marvel's supposed to be doing with Spider-Man. Not they're supposed to be working together with Sony, which they are.
And I feel like basically what it is, like Marvel's like, these are the people that we are comfortable being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You pick which one of these.
Yeah. Like, I think Marvel did narrow it down, and then Sony was just like, okay, well, which one do you think we should pick? And Marvel was like, you should pick this Tom Holland guy. So Sony was like, you know what? We're going to pick this Tom Holland guy.
But it's not even that far, but it's like, you know, like Marvel's the one picking Asa Butterfield, Tom Holland, Shelley Rowe.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're leaving it to, like, even if, like, okay, we are comfortable with any one of these three. Like,
yeah. I would love to be a fly on the wall for those conversations. Yeah.
At the very least, like, that's what, like...
I just got off a little bit on a little bit of a tangent because X-Men and Fantastic Four are both Marvel properties that have been licensed out to 20th Century Fox, so it just brought that little tidbit into my mind about people getting upset with Marvel over Spider-Man. All right, so moving on to our next quick hit topic, we have a casting rumor for Infinity War for the character of Magus, which is the evil version of Adam Warlock. And Adam Warlock is this character that plays an integral part in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, because as Thanos is assembling the Infinity Gauntlet, Adam Warlock is basically bringing all of Earth's mightiest heroes along with heroes from like other parts of the galaxy all together to fight Thanos. And Magus is the absolute evil version of Adam Warlock.
Well, in several stories does the same thing, but with all the villains.
Yeah. So this is kind of interesting because it brings up the fact that the person who plays Magus, are they going to be Adam Warlock, or are they going to have like Adam Warlock be a separate character from Magus and just use those two as like, you know, because it's supposed to be Magus is the villain for Infinity War Part 1. So it's interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, but say like it was just the casting sheet, like there wasn't actually listed like any of the candidates to play that. So it's kind of hard to. There's basically what their casting call was for it.
But I mean, it's interesting that they're going to have this character in this movie because
again, we saw Warlock's cocoon in the Collector's.
Yeah, so it just lends itself more to the fact that Adam Warlock will appear in the universe at some point.
Yeah, it does kind of then also raise a question of, you know, is the same person going to play both, or
exactly.
You know, like you're saying? So it's like, are they as using Magus so like people know?
Yeah.
Or since like it's not as well known of a character.
Yeah. So there was rumors that Matthew McConaughey was talking to both DC and Marvel about playing different characters for them. So what if Matthew McConaughey is actually talking about playing Adam Warlock? That'd be kind of weird.
Yeah,
Adam Warlock being like, all right, let's get this party started. I don't know.
I don't know. Like the only thing I could see him being in the Marvel universe would be like Silver Surfer. Like
I wouldn't want. Well, that's not even in the MCU. That's
that's Fox. But so like it's so hard for me to take him serious.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, same here. So the next topic on our quick hits list is that Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, will be making a cameo in Ant-Man. And this will kind of be semi-spoilerish, but I think it's at the beginning of the movie, so it's not like this big twist. But basically, it's just showing Wasp to kind of give some backstory to Hank Pym. So we're supposed to see Janet Van Dyne in a flashback scene of like Hank Pym being Ant-Man, her being Wasp, and having kind of like this sort of version of the Avengers of that time, apparently. And then something happens to Wasp, and it makes Hank Pym like basically say that he's not being Ant-Man no more. He doesn't like S.H.I.E.L.D. and all this other stuff. So what do you think about this possibility?
I mean, I would like to see that, they've have like heroes before Iron Man, essentially. Like,
yeah, which would make sense because, in the comics, Ant-Man and the Wasp were founding members of the Avengers. So it would make sense if they had that kind of play into this movie a little bit. Like maybe they were building this team before with Ant-Man and Wasp, and then it got like shut down for whatever reason, and then Nick Fury tried to open
potentially
it back up.
Maybe some more reasons why that starts Civil War.
I mean, I have to wait and see.
Yeah, like it just seems like I thought they've kind of said that essentially Ant-Man is more of the movie that leads as the prequel to Civil War. I
think the storyline of Ant-Man will lead into Civil War. I'm not really sure if the flashback will. I think the flashback will be more of a kind of like tip of the hat to comic book readers, as well as kind of give some backstory about why Hank Pym is the way that he is.
True.
And then our last quick hit of the day kind of involves 3 different movies, but
3 different sequels.
3 different sequels of previous successful movies, I guess. Lucy came out last year. I liked that movie. I thought it was very interesting. I'm not really sure how they're going to do a sequel with that, but it's getting a sequel. Top Gun is getting a sequel with apparently Tom Cruise is coming back to be in that movie.
And that's one of the ones that's been rumored for
a while,
at least a decade, or probably actually 2 decades now.
Yeah. And Independence Day is getting a sequel, and it's subtitled Resurgence. And there's actually some set photos that got released, which show kind of like this hybrid technology of Earth technology and the aliens technology or something like that. Looks really kind of strange, and I'm not really sure what to expect. But what do you think about either of these 3 movies getting sequels?
I mean, of these 3, as a Top Gun is the only one I'm excited for because I love the original Top Gun. I mean, I would be excited for an Independence Day, but just it's one Resurgence. Like it's so generic in a name that you don't really get anything from that.
I feel like it should be the subtitle. Actually, is it a subtitle to the Divergent series? It's like Divergent, Insurgent. I don't know. Anyways, it sounds like it would be like a title to like the Divergent like sequel or something.
And then Lucy, like I wasn't really a fan of it.
Really?
Like it just seemed it seemed too like scattered for me. It
got really weird at the end. I will say that it got really weird at the end, but I still enjoyed it.
And so, but again, like. I feel like it kind of also though is a case of like, well, where do you go with that? Like,
yeah, I know. That's why I was wondering. Like, it's kind of curious as to where they're going to go with it because of the way that it ended. But I'm still interested to see where they go with it because of that.
And I've got nothing against them making a sequel of that. It's just of those 3, Top Gun is the one I'm most excited for.
I'm just kind of curious, like, what are they gonna like? Is Tom Cruise gonna be like this old, like hardened, like veteran, and he's like breaking in like the new blood or something? Like, I don't know.
Pretty much. I mean, that's what the original sequel was. That he essentially was going to essentially take over Top Gun, and be the new like lead instructor or whatever, like head of Top Gun.
Real quickly, do you think that they're going to take Top Gun 2 and kind of like branch it out into like this new like movie franchise where they're pushing out like sequels? Like, because I feel like stories about fighter pilots could be very interesting if done the right way, but I feel like if they just want to like get a new franchise going, I kind of feel like it won't do justice to the original.
But especially with it being such a long time in between movies, I'm not really sure if they want this expanded universe of like Top Gun, or if they're just going to make like linear sequels. Yeah,
I think linear sequels could work, but I'm just afraid that with everything nowadays, again, everybody's trying to get on that shared cinematic universe train with Marvel, and for a lot of things it just doesn't work. Marvel can do it because they have such a rich history of the comic books, whereas like they take like let's say Top Gun does it, right? So they take the one movie that they have with Top Gun, they're like, oh, shared universe with like these fighter pilots and then like these guys, and like I don't know, it seems kind of.
But at the same time, you could easily make air war movie after air war movie, and you can kind of like just kind of start rotating cast members through like. When they get tired of doing it or something.
Yeah, I guess so. But yet it all remains to be seen because we don't have any information on that.
Yeah, that also has the least amount of information included with it.
Yep. All right, guys, that's going to do it for our quick hit segment of today's show. Now we're going to go into our viewer questions segment, we had two questions, but the one I mentioned earlier kind of got just pushed aside because of the Tom Holland being cast as Spider-Man news. But Davidson, he writes, he says, awesome review, guys. I want to ask you this question. Since the rumor about the Joker killing Robin in that set video chase scene, will it perhaps have Nightwing team up with Batman as a potential replacement for Robin? What do you think about Nightwing being in the new DC cinematic universe, kind of being the Robin character?
I mean, I don't know. Like, we feel like we've kind of touched upon this like multiple times, and like, you know, I feel like probably if Nightwing already exists, he already exists as Nightwing, and so he is kind of probably like fill the void while Batman has gone into reclusion. So like, yes, I could see him teaming up, but not necessarily as a Batman Robin.
I feel like
duo.
I feel like if Nightwing is in this movie, or in this cinematic universe, I feel like he won't just be Batman's sidekick.
He'll be more of an equal, not just a like mentor mentee.
I think they will be somewhat partners, but not the like Batman and the like smaller sidekick. I think because Nightwing, he from the comics, he kind of he watches over Bloodhaven, which is another city, outside of Gotham. So he kind of is doing his own thing as Nightwing. So I feel like because Nightwing is Dick Grayson, who was Robin, but then he grows up and doesn't want to be Robin anymore. He wants to be his own person, so he becomes Nightwing. So I feel like there will be room for Nightwing to work together with Batman in this cinematic universe. I just don't think it will be as a Robin character. Now, how I think if they do have a Robin in the cinematic universe, we talk about that girl who for the longest time was rumored to play Carrie Kelly Robin, who is the Robin from the Dark Knight Returns storyline from the comics. And there's also Tim Drake that they could go with if Jason Todd is in fact dead in this universe. So they have a couple options that they could go with for a Robin type character, but I think Nightwing will be Nightwing, and he will be not a sidekick but more of like a partner when him and Batman work together. And that's really all the questions that we got from our viewers this week. So guys, make sure you're sending in your questions to us. You can tweet us at Movieverse with the number 2 on Twitter, or you can email us to movieverseonline@gmail.com. So make sure you guys are sending in your questions. And in lack of questions this week, we're going to go ahead and touch on some other topics that we have that I brought up. And Screen Rant had this really interesting video that they put together about 5 actors that were almost cast as superheroes. And I thought it was really interesting. Did you get a chance to watch it?
I did watch that, and I've seen similar lists.
So it's like, I think one of them was Jack Black as Green Lantern, and
but as like the fourth
Bill
Green
Murray
Lantern.
as Batman. Like it was it was like this really like weird list of like, and even like the documentary that is going to be shown at Comic-Con from John Schnepp talks about the death of Superman Lives. So the Superman Lives movie was supposed to star Nick Cage as Superman, and he was one of the characters that was on this list. So what was your thoughts on this list of like actors who almost played? I think Tom Cruise as Iron Man. Sorry.
That was probably the only one that I could
kind of
be
see.
okay with. Like like that wasn't as big of a
Jack Black as Green Lantern.
Not only Green Lantern, but like the fourth Green Lantern that like nobody likes.
Yeah,
like,
I don't remember the guy's name.
Yeah, but it's like the clumsy buffoon one that kind of just gets it just because.
Yeah, but it's like, oh my gosh, it's like if you let's put it this way, the Green Lantern movie that Ryan Reynolds was in, right?
Yeah,
that was a terrible movie. The only quality of that movie that I thought was entertaining was Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
So if
he did the best he could with that movie.
If you put Jack Black in the place of that Ryan Reynolds character in that movie, how terrible would have that movie been?
We would not be talking about a Green Lantern movie in 2020.
Yeah, I can't even comprehend how terrible that movie would have been. Like a giant poo cloud and Jack Black like fighting him with like some kind of like, I don't know, like whoopee cushion air. I don't know. It would have been terrible. But yeah, what were your thoughts on some of the other ones like Bill Murray as Batman and?
It's one of those, like, I mean, kind of Batman was notorious that they wanted a comedic actor to play, because Batman. Because
they were going to go the very campy route with, like, the Adam West style Batman if they did the Bill Murray.
But even still, like, Tim Burton wanted a comedic actor. That's why they went for Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Like, he was not a dramatic actor at that time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he was coming off of Beetlejuice and, other comedy movies.
Yeah.
So, like, that one, like... That would have been like a heat of the moment type casting. Like I said, Tom Cruise, I kind of believed. I could kind of believe as like casting.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that like outside Mission Impossible, he doesn't do sequels. Like apparently now with Top Gun he will.
Yeah.
But so like that would have been a little interesting one. I've heard the stories about Nick Cage so that's not really news to me anymore.
Does this kind of tell you that? I mean, we mentioned earlier about the video game movies and comic book movies, how they used to not be taken very seriously. Does some of these names kind of show you that they weren't... Jack Black for Green Lantern, you know what I mean?
Jack Black in any movie does not sound like a good idea.
It seems like some of the names that were on this list were back in a time where they didn't really take the source material seriously.
Well, it was a time when... the studios believe that the actors are what sold the movie. So if you had an actor that did well, you wanted to put him in your next movie. Versus now, where the movies are very story based.
Yeah, and I think that also kind of shows like with Bill Murray as Batman, they were trying to go for a campy Batman, kind of like the Adam West version. I think it kind of showed that back then they thought that comic book movies couldn't be serious. Yeah, they were supposed to be for children.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that we've kind of come into this new age of superhero movies where they do take it more seriously, and you kind of get a better story from it, and you see like characters develop throughout. You can say that there might not be that much character development in like one specific movie, but I mean from Iron Man 1 to Avengers 2, like we've seen Tony Stark kind of take different routes and stuff like that. So you kind of see that, which I thoroughly enjoy. So I'm glad that some of these actors did not get cast as certain characters. But then I just wanted to bring up one more topic. This could have been a quick hit or a main news topic, but since we had lack of viewer questions, I just put it down here because it's kind of intriguing and can kind of bring up some debate and conversation. Is some of Jared Leto's co-stars have received gifts from Jared Leto that are very Joker-ish.
Yeah,
like,
I saw that.
He sent some people rats. He sent some people like
he sent Will Smith a bullet
carcass. Yeah. And he sent Will Smith bullets, and he sent him a video of him in character, like basically saying, "Hey guys, I can't be with you, but I'm working as hard as you are," and just like all in Joker character. And so it brings up the question: is like, how far does an actor have to go to portray the character of Joker? Because you see method actors like Heath Ledger and Jared Leto, they're getting so deep in this character, and rest in peace Heath Ledger, and people say that him playing Joker kind of put him in the mindset for what happened to him. And so you see Jared Leto kind of taking it to the extreme as well. So like, how far does an actor have to go to play this character?
Well, they obviously don't have to go that far, but
apparently they do.
Jared Leto has to go that far because he is probably the ultimate method actor, at least recently. Like, you look at the character he portrayed in Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah.
Like,
didn't he play like a transvestite or something in that movie? Or like a cross-dresser or something? Yeah.
So he's not one to shy away from a role just because it's uneasy. He has immersed himself in every role he has done.
Yeah.
In American Psycho, in Fight Club, movie Mr. Nobody. I
haven't seen that one.
That's again that one's probably the most jarring one because he plays like a normal person. He doesn't have that rock star persona like he does in most of the other movies he's in, but he is someone that will give you 210%.
Yeah. So
you could very easily have a Joker that is much more of like a cerebral, like very just kind of like I just see like have these like very like logically dictated plans and like that like but they're so twisted that that's what makes him the Joker.
Yeah, and what's interesting is like you can say whatever you want about the way that his Joker looks like physically and with his car or whatever, but the thing is, at the core of Joker, he is a sick and twisted, like crazy, like maniac of a character. And I feel like if this is the kind of stuff that Jared Leto is doing offset, like his character in the movies it's gonna be insane to watch, and like I mean it might give me nightmares, and I'm a grown ass man. So it's I can't wait to see what he does with this character. But yeah, I mean you were right on with how he approaches his characters. It does make sense that he is going this far to play the Joker. I just hope that doesn't have the same effect that it did on Heath Ledger. But I love seeing great actors take these characters so seriously. And I think that's the one thing that we can take away from both Marvel and DC is that these actors, John Bernthal for The Punisher, like as soon as he got casted as The Punisher, he ran to a comic book store and like got like all the Punisher comics that he could, signed it for like the comic book store owner, took a picture, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so, and Jesse Eisenberg, the way that he explained himself in an interview last week about trying to play this character for this movie as well as he possibly can, like that kind of stuff, it just lends itself to us as fans that these guys are taking these characters seriously. They're not treating it like like Two-Face and the Riddler from Batman and Robin, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even though Jim Carrey did make a great Riddler, I feel like.
Yeah.
But it was, anyways. But yeah, so
I saw actually you mentioned that I saw an article like they're talking about like the problems with Batman and Robin. It's like basically you sign on Ace Ventura, and you got Ace Ventura as the Riddler. Like
yeah, I know. But yeah, so it's great to see that he is taking this character so seriously. But yeah, that's the main thing I want to point out with this topic is the fact that he is going very deep and very dark into this character, and it kind of just gives us a glimpse at what the Joker is going to be like in this new DC cinematic universe.
That's exactly. It's just like I said, the way you phrase that question. No, actors do not need to go that far to play the Joker. Yeah. However, Jared Leto does. Yeah. Because that's the way he is.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the Movieverse Movie News Show. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, go ahead and click that thumbs up button. Comment down below what you thought about any of the topics that we covered here today. Make sure you are subscribing to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our movie news shows, our trailer reactions, our movie reviews, any of those videos. I do an unboxing video for the Marvel Collector Corps, so you guys can go and watch those as well. Make sure you guys are subscribed to us on iTunes and favorite us on Stitcher. If you go to either of those, you just search it Movieverse and you'll find a audio only version of this show. So if you're at work like I am and you can't watch a video at work, you can just plug in an earbud and just listen to it. It's a great way to pass the time. But yeah, follow us on Twitter at Movieverse with the number 2, and you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Movieverse online. And that'll do it for us here at Movieverse, and we will catch you guys on the next video.